of shoes. Look at these. Sorry, that got a bit crotchy over there, sorry. But I love them. But I have to warn you, they're the kind of shoes that are making me walk like a cross between a disappointing stripper and a recently birthed giraffe. You know, ladies, when you make this kind of shoe choice, or gents, hey, we're in Brighton. Maybe when you make this kind of shoe choice at a wedding and you're absolutely fine for the ceremony, but by the time it's the reception, you're walking like the birthing scene in Bambi. But instead of amniotic fluid, you're head to toe in Prosecco. That is what I'm rocking. So, this evening, you're going to see my show called Instrumental, and I'm going to tell you a story. And basically, there's always been a piano in my life. Those of you that have seen me before will know that I always have a piano in my shows, and there's always been a piano in my life. But apparently when I was really, really young, my dad randomly brought it home one night. He'd been in the pub, and the landlord was getting rid of it. And so my dad asked if he could take it. They didn't think he meant there and then. But my dad decided to push it home. Imagine my mum's face when my dad, a few pints the wrong side of merry, rocks up panting and sweating profusely from having pushed an upright piano down a B road. Now my dad looked a bit like someone famous. It used to be this fella when he was younger. And as he aged, he gradually morphed into the other one. I reckon there can't be many people that throughout their lives have managed to look like both Chuckle Brothers. So this is a show about trying. And 8 months ago, I wrote a description for a show that didn't exist. And what I wrote was this. Comedian Vikki has collected 20 instruments. She will play all these instruments throughout the show as an underscore to her story. Quite easy to write that. Quite a lot of hubris there. And I realised when I started to do this show at the Edinburgh Festival that I had tried and failed to achieve what I had hoped for. Not every instrument has been mastered. And it's taken me months to work out how I'd create an underscore to a show moment to moment. And not to bore you with too much music geekery, but the solution I arrived at was some dubious live playing, recorded onto a loop pedal with a bit of computer wizardry thrown in and a shitload of wires. So at times it's going to feel less like Britain's Got Talent and more Britain's had a jolly good go. Also, I know my shoes are new, but I can't actually do the show in them, so they're coming off. But I didn't want to, that's not a present. They're very expensive. I didn't want to come on stage in bare feet though, and have you thinking that I'm one of those barefooted acts that spreads verrucas from art centre to art centre. That's not me. So, how does one start the soundtrack to their life? Well, for me, I decided that it should begin as it began, at the beginning, like this. At age 6, my mum made me get piano lessons. She had enough of listening to me playing with my face, my chin, my elbows. Just mindlessly whacking piano keys was brilliant fun. And when I started to get piano lessons, I could not believe how shit it was in comparison. Scales, nothing but scales. Just putting one finger in front of the other, up and down, never playing any proper music. I couldn't see the point of scales, and I thought they were something that adults invented deliberately to make kids suffer, like times tables and paragraphs. So I came across that photograph about 8 months ago when I was moving house. I found it in the garage, and there was a treasure trove of my musical past. I came across this accordion also in the garage. I'd not seen it in a decade. It's not even mine. I borrowed it in 2004 and I thought I'd given it back. I don't even know who I borrowed it from. Whoever it is, we're clearly not friends anymore, probably because I stole their accordion. But as I was coming across my stuff, like packing my stuff ready to move, I found loads of things that I either used to play or never really learned to play at all. And despite having not used them for years, they were things that I would never consider getting rid of. So I posted about this on Facebook, and all of a sudden loads of people came out of the woodwork saying that they were exactly the same, that they had instruments that they never played anymore. And they posted pictures of themselves with their instruments. It was really nice to see what everybody played. Obviously it was mostly ukuleles. There was other stuff in there like a French horn. I even had a man send me a picture of his organ, not for the first time. Then people lent me their instruments. Katie lent me her cello, Samson lent me her clarinet, Steve lent me his bassoon, Al gave me a trumpet, my friend Arsnat gave me a musicality from him. And my granddad used to sing in the local male voice choir, and he loved that choir. And when he could no longer attend due to ill health, a very kind retired friend with quite a lot of time on his hands volunteered to add my granddad into the annual choir photograph. This was in the pre-Photoshop days. They simply took a tiny picture of my granddad in his wheelchair, cut him out, and glued him on the end. You know like every teenage girl used to for generations, carefully cutting themselves out of family photographs and adding themselves next to pictures of a newly mole-free Chesney Hawks. Just me? That is me, by the way, and not a teenage boy. My teenage years weren't kind. But back in the day, if you remember, teenage magazines used to come with free stickers of Chesney Hawks, so you could spare yourself the trouble of scissors and Grit Stick. Nowadays, there's an app, so you can add Harry Styles into your selfies. 14 selfies a day the average teenager takes. That's teenage girls, that is. I know what teenage boys are doing 14 times a day, and it takes a selfie. Now, I'm quite relieved that I did most of my growing up without the internet. There is something absurdly competitive about the internet. Keeping up with the Joneses and conspicuous consumption are no longer played out across the streets, the length and breadth of suburbia. The traditional curtain twitchers are a dying breed. No more subtle attempts to figure out what leather monstrosity your neighbour has bought in the DFS sale. Nowadays, it is instead all played out online through Facebook posts and shared holiday albums. Once upon a time, not too long ago, we simply bought things and took them home for our own simple, private enjoyment. But nowadays, everything we cook, everything we bake, microwave and wear, is proudly displayed on our Facebook timelines for all to see, peacocking every culinary success like a trotting show dog. Look at these cupcakes I made. Don't you just want to be me? Fuck your life and look at how impressive mine is. I mean, if you bake cupcakes and you don't Instagram them, then why would you even bake them? We are now programmed to see a sunset, take a picture of the sunset, choose the best filter for the sunset, Walden, to make it more sunsetty than the other fucking sunsets on Instagram. When was the last time any of us just saw a beautiful sunset and allowed ourselves to just be there in that moment? I genuinely can't remember when the last time my first instinct wasn't that I'll make a great photograph before swiping my iPhone open. Now, most things we post online are an attempt to make other people jealous of your ostensibly fabulous life. Once upon a time, only celebrities had to worry about being seen in the same outfit twice, but now ordinary people worry about it too. And there's designer clothes hire companies that, as part of their marketing campaign, try and make youth to feel ashamed about being seen on Facebook in the same outfit twice. And they suggest hiring designer clothes from them at £50 a pop. 50 quid to hire a top for a day. For the same money, I could hire a sit-on lawnmower. Imagine the Facebook posts that get out of that. Birthday parties, social gatherings, weekends away with friends. Sharing the pictures is now more important than the event itself. If my dinner party gets less than 10 likes, then it never happened. I'm a big fan of organised fun, board games, group sports, hen parties, the lot. What I love about organised fun is that you're never more than 5 minutes away from either having or witnessing a truly fantastic argument. The thing about group fun is that it always ends up teetering right on the edge of utter joylessness. There's no guarantee that you'll still have friends at the end of a game of Monopoly, but who needs friends when you've got a fucking hotel on Mayfair? Or things like friendly games of rounders in the summer where you split your trousers trying to get to fourth base, and despite everyone clearly being able to see your flaps, you keep on playing. I don't play friendly games, I play to win. I was captain of the rounders team, right? I had a badge and everything. And I was in Tesco's recently, and I was next to an attractive man, and we were browsing apples, and one apple fell, and my lightning fast reactions meant that I caught it, and really fucking smoothly too. The man said, "Nice catch." If it were a film, it would have cut to us having dinner then fucking, but as it was real life, straight after he said "nice catch," I clicked, winked, pointed and said, "Rounders captain!" Thus ensuring the only thing I could have thought that man would have thought of me in that moment was twat. your parents, thanks to the wonder of the Kids Club. It was like one big long school playtime with brand new kids from places you'd never heard of, like Bradford and Minehead. And there were super cool adults that wore neon and shouted, but in a good way. And the other kids, their amazing t-shirts like Global Hypercolour that drew attention to your sweat in swirling heat patterns. Unless you were the fat kid, in which case there were no heat patterns. It's just one solid colour. It's like an ordinary t-shirt. Heartbreaking. Now, there were always numerous fancy dress contests over the course of a family holiday, and I won the fancy dress contest on my first night there. I was dressed as the Pied Piper, complete with 10 rats dragging behind with a piece of string, and my mother made me skip across the stage whilst I played the flute. We travelled light. Now, my parents are very serious fancy dressers. It's a trait that I have. There is nothing worse than half-arsed fancy dress. Nothing! No, there is nothing worse than half-arsed fancy dress. I mean, how can you live with yourself if you get invited to an 80s fancy dress party and you turn up in normal clothes with a neon leg warmer? Either dress as Cher or fuck off! Now, my parents were committed to embarrassing their kids. This was my dad on that Tenerife holiday. That's commitment! And what I love about this photograph is if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a bottle of milk next to a pint. Parenting! So my dad came up with a fantastic second costume idea for me. There was another fancy dress contest and he wanted to achieve a winning streak. And I brought on holiday with me a bright green tracksuit, and it was decided that we'd utilise this piece of quite frankly excellent holiday packing, and I would be a flower. The green tracksuit would be the stem. My dad then sourced red crepe paper for the petals that would be stuck around my face. Fuck knows where he got crepe paper from a resort in Tenerife. I mean, you hardly find a Ryman's on a seafront, but he got it, and I was going to be a poppy. My dad painted my face as per the centre of a poppy, and before we'd reached the clubhouse, the red petals had inevitably fallen off, and I was just a 6-year-old entering a fancy dress competition, blacked up in a tracksuit. The worst thing is that my dad still made me enter the competition, and my costume be judged. Ooh, I was judged. Needless to say, I did not win. Now, me and my brother were quite competitive as kids, and we were always kind of, like testing each other, and I was quite successful at getting to do things for me. It's quite easy to make an 8-year-old do things for you. For example, all you need to do is go, "I'll time you," and they'll do something. And that was it. 3 short words and he's off. Running up the stairs and retrieving your hairbrush or whatever. I didn't even have a watch. I'd just make up a time that sounded good and he'd skip off all pleased with himself. Now, my mum would make the most of this, and to get us to do any housework, she'd turn it into a competition, and crucially, she'd damn it, it's not working. And crucially, she'd play montage music to make us do it faster. It's basically psychological manipulation. I mean, I can't clean now unless I feel like I'm in a montage. The only way I can contemplate DIY is if I spend half the time running on the spot and punching, or I feel like I'm the welding bird in flash dance. But now, montage music is always in a minor key with a driving bass line and synth, lots of synth. And the more jeopardy there is, the more synth you need. And as a kid, my pocket money was in jeopardy. So I found the montage extremely motivating. That's where the pyro would go if I had the budget. So, thank you. So, I started to play the flute at the same time that I started to play the piano when I was 6. And this flute, this very one on top of the piano, was bought for me when I was 12. And we couldn't afford it. I needed a flute because I was quite good at it, and my granddad lent us the money to buy one. It's because I was competing with all the posh kids that were going for the music school places and the National Youth Orchestra and things like that. And these were invariably posh kids I was competing with. I mean, it's pretty much impossible to find a working class kid playing the corde or the bassoon. Now, that bassoon over there isn't mine. It was lent to me by my friend Steve, a fellow performer and collector of instruments. And when I went round Steve's house, it was like a muso's paradise. There were so many things he wanted me a conversation I ever thought I'd have. Now, I got into music school. It was really exciting. I couldn't wait to go. But when I got there, I found it really hard to fit in. I found it really hard to make friends. You see, being a scholarship kid in a posh school is the normal school equivalent of being the kid in assembly that shat their pants. Assembly. So, but yes, no one wants to be the kid in assembly that shat their pants. Not at 14. No, I went to music school with the girls from Escala. You know, those mega sexy string players that stand in tiny miniskirts, their legs apart, and play the Barbara Adagio with a cum face. I was 14, wanting to be 18, wanting to be cool, like the other kids at school, like the boy who plays the guitar. He is born to be a big star, and the girls on violin, they're so beautiful and thin. They'll be the next Vanessa May. Mark my words, I bet one day they'll be storming up the charts, and on the TV breaking hearts, they'll sell sex playing Puccini with dry ice in a bikini. 'Cause the classics now need sex, but I had spots and I wore specs. No mini skirt, no knee-high boots. Oh why, oh why did I choose to learn the flute when you can't play the flute with a cum face? No, you can't play the flute with a cum face, baby. You can't play the flute with a cum face, but I'll try. But it doesn't matter what composer you are playing, unless you make it look like you're ejaculating. But it's hard to look sexy playing something that you blow. Ironic, but it's quite easy to do whilst playing the cello. Hot girl, legs out, cum face. Long hair, top off, cum face. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to try and make the bassoon sexy. But the bassoon is a hard instrument to play. It's played through a double reed, which needs to be made moist before it can make sound. Just excuse me 1 second whilst I moisten my reed. Almost there! Nearly moist enough! They're around. Yes, but the way to the pro if you are a musician is always to pose in a sexual position. Backwards chair, legs spread, cum face. Sunglasses, conga, cum face. Bridge, cobbled street, truly unnecessary cum face. From conga, sir, cum face, yes. Cello, oh, cum face. Right, I know what I need to do now. I've got it, give me some smoke, come on. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, hello. Oh, he's enjoying himself. Oh, yes. I don't know what to do that. I got carried away. But that was quite awkward, but not as awkward as when I decided to do that song at my nan's 80th birthday. But I'm always asked to I was 20, and Mum got remarried last year. My dad got remarried a few years back, but I didn't sing at his wedding. It was a registry office job, followed by doing the pub with the dog as a bridesmaid. You don't need a song if you've got a dog and a boa. But I did sing at my dad's funeral though, and he died last year. And this is absolutely true, that during the funeral planning process, I get a call from my dad's wife saying, "Would you sing Fields of Gold?" The same song at my mum's wedding, and then my dad's funeral 4 months later. I felt like I was living in a Richard Curtis movie. So as a replacement for Fields of Gold at the funeral, another classic was suggested. My dad's wife suggested that I sing Heather Small's Proud. Now the problem with Heather Small's hit from 2000 is that no one can ever sing it without doing the voice. Make a feel proud. A crematorium is no place for questionable impressions. So it's going to have to be Wind Beneath My Wings. And I first sang that song at a school concert, and my dad would pester me to sing it to him again and again and again, but I always refused. Because come on, what self-respecting teenager busts out a Bette Midler tune for an audience of just their dad? So I would sing it at the funeral, make amends, better late than never, and after all he was there, sort of, albeit in a box. I got told off for calling it the box. I went to see him in the box at the Chapel of Rest, as it's tastefully called. My mum said I should go. She said I'd probably like it. That does sound like someone casually recommending a restaurant. Oh, do go, you'll probably like it. But she was right, I did like it. It was peaceful, it was nice. I left a great TripAdvisor review. Before my dad died, he really started to get into TripAdvisor, and his reviews started popping up on my Facebook feed, and I noticed that he'd left a review of a restaurant that he visited in 1989. He gave it 3 stars. I mean, I can understand someone remembering a terrible meal or an amazing one, but to remember exactly what you had in a 3-star restaurant for 25 years, it's absurd. So both me and my brother were there for the first time box watching. And there's something comforting about the box. Something a bit Schrodinger's catty, except there's no cat and he's definitely dead. Okay, it was nothing like Schrodinger's cat. And there's only a few people that have got that, but they are feeling really smug right now. So that was totally worth it. So if you've never been box watching, as I like to call it, chances are, not to be overly morbid, you get the chance to go. And I recommend it. And I know it's a weird thing to recommend, but they make them look all nice and they take the box into a private room. And when I saw my dad, it looked nothing like him. I don't know what those embalmers used, but his skin. I mean, he was dead, yeah, but I'd literally never seen him looking so healthy. I mean, in a way, I wanted to see him looking like him, you know, in a fleece, covered in dog hair. My dad was always covered in dog hair, and it felt wrong that he didn't have any dog hair on him. So he started frantically scouring the coffin for a dog hair, as though it was some ill-conceived round of the Crystal Maze. And after considerable scouring, there were no dog hairs to be found. So we started patting ourselves down to try and find one, though I was self-frisking at an airport. And after considerable patting, which the untrained eye, there was like 2 grown adults simultaneously crying and hitting themselves, as though it was part of a Paul McKenna weight loss ritual, I found a dog hair on my tights, and I cried from the relief of it. And I reverently placed the dog hair on Dad's smart jacket, and it felt complete. I did then suggest dashing to Millets to panic buy a fleece, but my brother thought that was just getting weird, and so stopped it. After I graduated, I had a mountain of debt and no real job, and my dad was always wary of my choice of career, and he'd try and give me advice as to how I could be better with earning and saving money, but none of it was ever practical. For example, he'd often suggest that I go on Deal or No Deal. Or he'd give me a full rundown as to exactly what was on offer in Aldi. I don't know what it is about parents and Aldi, but it's those magical middle aisles, you know? They're an impulse buyer's nightmare. You pop in for some really very reasonably priced veg, and you leave with a fish tank and an own brand Black & Decker workbench that you didn't want or need. I'm guessing that most of you shop at Waitrose, so that is news to you. So, that's fine, that works terrific up north. So, my first job was as a cocktail pianist at the Westbury Hotel in Mayfair, and I got the sack on my first day. Not even an hour into my job. That has to be some sort of record. And And basically, I had to sit at a large grand piano and just play jazz in the corner, and that was all I had to do. And I was very strict rules. I couldn't sing, and I was not allowed to pull focus. Fine, I can do that. So after 20 minutes, a very pissed woman came up to me, and she wanted to sing. And I felt if she was paying all that money to stay in that posh hotel, and she wanted to sing, then she should bloody well be able to sing. And pretty soon I was taking requests. And this very expensive bar of this very exclusive Mayfair hotel had turned into a knees up. And the uptight French manager came over to me, tapped me on the shoulder, sat me on the spot and escorted me out of the building onto the street. And the scene that I left behind with me was 45 men and women, all in business dress, singing Bohemian Rhapsody. So I used to tell lies to get proper jobs, like real jobs with big companies with long titles. And my most impressive post, wait for it, my most impressive post was head of bagged salad for M&S. Head of bagged salad! Come on! Do you know what else is head of? Yes, quite right. So there I was, head of bagged salad. Well, I blagged it, totally blagged it, knew nothing about bagged salad. So what I had to do was I had to guess, I had to estimate how much bagged salad to send to each brand. So I just made it up. And I got the sack again. I got the sack after 4 days because I misordered £11,000 worth of excess lettuce that turned up at a petrol station on the A40. You could say my salad days were over. Okay, it's not for everyone. I had a job distributing the Evening Standard at Liverpool Street Station. And basically I was selling papers in what can only be described as a news disco. There was an exhibition-style stand with 4 young girls, really loud music, and we had to shout a lot wearing orange boiler suits. It was like a hen night in Guantanamo Bay. Finally, I got a call from my agent. Now, my first agent, I should explain, was the kind of agent that you regularly see satirised. She had a decaying office just off Marylebone High Street in London, fur coat hanging on the back of the door, and the whole place stank of Barclay menthols. She was the type of woman that could make the word darling last a fortnight. She got me a job in an independent film with no audition or anything, and I was so excited. I had 6 lines about a broken dishwasher, not much, but it was a start. And I had to go to Clapham to a location house for the filming. And so when I get to Clapham on the filming day, I start to notice that there were a lot of men walking around the set in their pants. And it didn't take me very long to work out what sort of independent film this is. Now the director saw that I was nervous and said, "Oh, don't worry, Vikki, you're here on a non-sex day. And yours is a non-sex role, but as they're shooting a gay porn film. Now, your co-star's role is a sex role, and he is playing a straight guy that gets fucked by a plumber. Well, I say, we've all been fucked by a plumber, £80 an hour to fix a tap." So the storyline goes that me and my boyfriend have a conversation about how the dishwasher needs fixing. I call a plumber, and then I go out. Cut to vigorous bumming. I don't know why they bother setting it up, but that was the story. Just in case anyone's interested, and I'm sure people are, just in case anyone's interested, the film is called What Goes Around Comes Around, spelled like you'd expect. And at the end of the shoot, the director said, "Would I like to use my own name in the credits?" Now, I was 18 and I didn't see what harm it could do, so I said yes. My name is now permanently listed on the porn equivalent of IMDb. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet never forgets. My mother is thrilled naturally. Pretty proud of that. Fresh out of school, I tried to be cool. I wanted to be rock and roll, I wanted to rule at the top of the charts and to break a few hearts and to play the Albert Hall and to play at Wembley. But I began to cry when I looked around. All I had was my student debt and a stale baguette and a wanker of a flatmate who was quite unfriendly. I had words to sing and songs to share. I could be a star or a millionaire, have my music playing everywhere, but instead I'm distributing Evening Standard. Roll up, Vikki spread up. She had it up to here and she needs a leg up. She's waiting for the phone that never rings. Plays piano in the evening but she doesn't sing. There must be something round the corner round the next bend. Something better than starring with a bell end. Literally getting a screen time than the bell end of a homosexual brother. Oh man, my life is a bummer. But then in the summer, my phone went ring. would you be a backing singer for Elton? Ben Elton? No, Elton John, Tiny Dancer, Rocket Man. Come on, Vikki, he needs an answer. He needs a backing singer for the Royal Albert Hall and for his shows at Wembley. Yes! The answer's yes! I'll get to it with Elton John, amazing fucking hell, come on! Before you know it, we'll be friends. We'll end up writing songs together, but it all depends. If I do a good job for Mr. Elton John, if I sing the best I ever sung in a song, he'll think I am amazing and it won't be long before he wants to do duets with me. I can't go wrong. He'll tell me that I am an amazing singer. He'll tell everybody that I am a winner. Before I know I'll be coming round his for dinner. Me and David Furnish and the boy from Pinner. He's from Pinner near Harrow. Facts as well as jokes. So, I had to learn every single song that Elton John has done. And the day came where I stood on stage at the Royal Albert Hall and I was step touching and oohing ahhing behind him and he was paying me. I wasn't there by accident. It was amazing. I wasn't taken away by security. So, flashback sequence. I'm going to need someone to be Elton John, and considering you enjoyed the violin so much, yes, you should have enjoyed yourself. That's your own fault. What's your name, lovely? Richard. Have a little see there. Let's give him one more clap. Give him a clap. Alright. Hi, Richard. I'm going to let you into Elton John, so I just want you to just pop those on. Tremendous. And then just pop this on. That's going to complete the transformation. Okay, it's more like simple art, but we can suspend our disbelief. So Richard is going to bring Elton John in the story. Do you sing, Richard? Doesn't matter. So, do you know your song? Oh, you do. That's enough. So, I want you to sing it for you. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a little bit funny. This feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. Same again for this one. It's a little bit. Oh no, wait, stop. Hang on. I've not turned it up. Okay. That's fine. I'm just going to start that again. It's fine. Okay. Technical issues. Live. 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's a little bit funny, it's what this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. It's a little bit funny,
Oh,
this feeling inside.
So what I'm going to do, Richard, is that's going to keep going around. That's a loop. So, I want you to line me, Elton John.
Those who can easily
It's a same line.
It's a
So
little
there I was. That's very good. It's a little upstage and also. So there I was on stage with the one and only Sir Elton John. And my dad was in the VIP seats next to Dame Judi Dench. Oh yes. And he kept on poking her. No, that way. He kept on poking her, saying, that's my daughter, that's my daughter. She moved during the interval. So, when you work with Elton John, you don't actually get to meet him. He comes and goes from gigs in a helicopter and doesn't turn up to rehearsals. Why would he? Is Elton John. So, at the end of the last gig at the Albert Hall, he was going to do a meet and greet and say hello to all the singers that were singing for me. I was really excited. We were going to be best friends. So, we need to create scene 2. Scene 2 is the meet and greet. I think your friends can be in the meet and greet. I think yes. Elton John, always had a dog with him. So, Elton John always had a dog with him. And so I want you to be Elton John's dog. No? Where's the dog? My technician is pointing. We've neglected to inform me where the dog costume was. Sure, there it is. I've got it. There it is. There we go. So, you're going to be the dog. Elton John had a dog called Arthur. Oh, the jacket's coming off in his business. He's taking this very seriously, unlike me. So, hold on. What's your name, lovely? Andrew. Andrew is going to be Elton John's dog. Arthur. There we go.
It's a little bit funny.
So, just for reference. Just for reference, Elton John's dog was a fox spaniel. So, right, the meet and greet scene. I'm going to need you to get up. You're doing very well. So come this way. I want you to shake hands. Go down the front of the second row. I want you to shake hands. Is that the house lights up? Okay, dog, you too. So, you're going to be all the other people in the scene, and I'm going to go down to the other end, and I'm going to keep telling the story. So, go and see. So there I was, getting ready to meet Elton John. There was me, and it was nearly my turn. And as it was my turn, his assistant tapped him on the shoulder and told him there was no more time, and he couldn't meet everybody else, and he had to leave. No more time. No, it's tremendous, darling. That's really lovely, but there was no more time. And I never got to meet Elton John. And like that, he was gone. But now tonight, he's going to see me live out my fantasy with Elton John. I'm going to get in his helicopter. We're going to sing to each other. We're going to be best friends. Here's the helicopter. Come on, boys. Here's the helicopter. Let's have those house lights again. Right, I want you to push. You sit. Push quite hard when I say so, because it gets a bit heavy. Do you mind if I sit on your knee? Lovely. Let's get some sun. We're in the clouds. Right, wait. Can you do helicopter arms? Just to make them move, but yeah, beautiful. So I want you all to sing. I'm going to sing your song. Ready? It's a little bit. Let's go. Push hard. Push hard. Push hard. Push hard. Now, put it up. It's a little bit funny. Ladies and gentlemen, you can sit down and welcome. Thank you. Thanks. You can just keep the costume on. You want your own glasses back? Oh yeah, you want to watch the rest of it? Okay, I like it. Lovely. Well, got that dog costume where it came from. So my love of fancy dress came from my dad. I'm a bit obsessed with it. And my dad was 59, but he'd always been a bit of a kid. And he was always getting into trouble. He was always getting told off. And I found it really, really funny as a kid, because my dad was a master of slapstick, you know, but unintentional. He was a proper clown. And my dad once tried to style out falling in a canal, fully clothed, whilst walking the dog. And he was clearly pissed, but he came home dripping wet, but also stinking of stagnant canal water. Hugh, my dad, trying to pretend to have gone to huge lengths to save the dog, who was bone dry, from drowning. Now, my mum went mental, but I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really, really funny. Now, my dad was one of those people that thought he was amazing at everything. And when I was a kid, a teenager, he had to pick me up from a skate park that had proper ramps and half pipes and stuff. Now, just to be clear, I never went there to skate. I just went there to sit on the walls at the edge and smoke and lust after skater boys. I was basically Avril Lavigne. My dad had strict instructions to stay in the car, which he ignored, and he strode over to the skate park and didn't even think twice about grabbing a skateboard off the boy and heading up a half pipe. The other kids started staring and whispering, "Is that a chuckle brother?" As this mustachioed man, dressed as though he'd been on a trolley dash in minutes, prepares to take on the big one. I mean, there's a brief moment where every kid in the place is watching my dad, and I'm there at the bottom, hoping beyond hope that he'll put it off, and I'll be the one with the cool dad that can skate. Come on, please, Dad, please. He's there at the top with his chest out, dash proud. He puts one foot on the skateboard, and he precariously balances over the edge, and he was there for what felt like an eternity. Time stood still. Waiting to put his full weight on, and when he does, he comes instantly crashing down to the bottom. To make matters worse, it's drawn out, and he keeps it behind the side of the half pipe like a trainer in a washing machine. Any sensible person would walk away now, but not my dad. No, he decides to style it out and heads back up to the top for another go. But not by getting up and walking up the stairs. No, he rolls on to the edge of the half pipe. Came off, as though the fleece was his problem. As though the fleece was the root of his problem. Is the mic on now? Yeah. Sorry, I hit him in the uke. Whoops. But yes, there's a himself. He continued to make small talk with the skater boys, which was basically 5 minutes about how he would have succeeded if he'd had an Allen key. And how all skaters should carry Allen keys as standard, as blood seeped through his beige cords. I didn't hang out with skater boys after that. But my dad didn't seem like an adult to me. He was always the naughty one, always getting told off. Now my dad wasn't a businessman or a professor or an author or anything like that. He was just an ordinary bloke, one of those blokes from down the pub. You know, there wasn't anything that couldn't be sold from someone down the pub. It was like a sort of LinkedIn for pissheads. We got meat and milk from the pub. We got our dining room chairs from the pub. We got our bouncy house from someone who knows someone. There's no someone down the pub. I got my first piano from the pub. It was basically Tesco Extra. Now, around the time of my first Edinburgh show, my dad's behaviour started to become unpredictable, and he started to see things that weren't there. He even got the police to come round his house after reporting that he'd seen gypsies in his garden trying to steal his cat. This is my dad's cat. There's no way that over all those years, a man in real life could actually get himself into as many scrapes and comedy falls as the Chuckle Brothers did. And as the years went by and I got older, I began to see that the clowning and the falling over and the seeing things that weren't there were because every day he was drinking himself silly. Literally drinking himself silly. Into a clown, into a joker, that master of unintentional slapstick. And when my dad ended up in a liver ward, he got put in a side room by himself as, according to the nurses, my dad had been caught swinging his catheter at other patients. Only my dad could be on death's door and yet still find the energy to lunge at strangers wielding a bag of his own piss. But that was it. You know, I decided that it was time to try. In that side room on that liver ward, I said to my dad, let's do it, let's try. He tried and failed in the past, but we could do it. We were going to AA. So I drove across the country and I went with him every single week to make sure that he actually went. And I read loads of stuff on Google to try and help him, like endless Google searches of things that might help with the withdrawal, like vitamin A, vitamin B, milk thistle, folic acid, hypnotherapy, psychotherapy. I began sending him every concoction and supplement in the post. Here, Dad, try this. It might help. Google told me. However, the hardest part was actually getting him to go to the meetings in the first place. It's what I imagine it'd be like to make a grumpy teenager go to an after-school maths club because they failed the GCSE. Now, my dad would sit there during the meeting, staring at the floor like a petulant teenager, tapping his foot, waiting until he could go to the toilet and down what was ever in his pocket. I mean, I wouldn't have minded the odd behaviour he was withdrawing, but my dad was turning up to AA, pissed. That is like going to Weight Watchers and having a Mars bar whilst you are being weighed. At least wait till you get home to fill your cake hole. Now, I'd store up my annoyances and we'd row in the car on the way home. And I knew that feeling. But when I was a kid, when I'd been at a birthday party or something and I'd been really, really naughty, and my parents were keeping up appearances, you could tell from the smile in the eyes that you were in for a bollocky in the car on the way home. Dad sits in silence in the passenger seat. I turn off the engine and I pull the handbrake. The sound of the metal begins to creak as it cools, but after a while there is no sound at all. Just an old Volkswagen Golf with 100 on the clock and one of those smelly pine Christmas tree things. The time on the dashboard flicks to 8 o'clock. We go in and at 10 we come out. And as we get back in the car outside a local church hall, a small piece of paper that says, give me a call. A man at the meeting said, here is my number. Just call if you need to talk. Come on, Dad, please just try. Remember, you are a good guy, and it's okay if you cry, but just try. 'Cause week after week I will drive across country to make sure you sit there so that slowly you'll see. Although it's not easy, although it's a bastard, there are people who aren't and are willing to be a friend, an advisor, a guide, a survivor. Just think what you'll miss if you don't try to fix this. No more walks with the dog, no more dressing the cat up, no more sitting at the back of my shows. No, did you know that's my daughter? 'Cause your life will be shorter, but I guess that's your choice, I suppose. So come on, Dad, please just try. Remember, you are a good guy, and it's okay if you cry, but just try. Dad looked into my eyes and he promised that he'd stop. He said, all right then, Vix, no, I won't touch a drop. I said, you better fucking not. This is now your last chance. It's no longer a joke. There is no song and dance. Please keep going each week. Keep attending the meetings. Start doing this for yourself. But Dad never stopped. He just told me he had. And at the start of December, the news becomes bad. Hi Vix, it's me. I'm not very well. Just give me a call. Oh, and by the way, you'll never guess what Aldi now sells. I sit in silence in the driving seat. Another gig done, I had the crowd on their feet. But my foot's on the floor as I race down the M6. Your dad was taken in earlier. Please hurry up, Vix, just hang in there, Dad, I'm coming to see you. I'm not far away and I'm in the 5th gear. Chuckle, brother, what can I do? I'm sending love to me, to you. Come on, Dad, please just try. You have to give me a goodbye. And excuse me if I cry, but just try. Dad sits in silence somewhere in the back row. He'd sneak in just before the start of a show, and at the end he would tell everyone, that's my daughter. And after he'd say, Vikki, you really ought to write a nice song, write a song that is honest. All right, Dad, I'll do it one day, I promise. My Facebook wall became a spontaneous book of condolence. It was really nice. Social media really came through. Although it did highlight that the middle-aged did a lesson in social media etiquette, it is not appropriate to send somebody this message. I'm very sorry to hear of your loss, lol. I mean, please, if you take one thing home from this show, please make sure that anyone you know over 50 understands that LOL means laugh out loud. So, this violin, the one you saw me play earlier, the one on top of the piano, it's a bad eBay purchase, right? But it's not my worst eBay purchase. That was the time I spent £75 on taxidermied rabbits and Christmas hats. But it is a violin, right? And the picture on eBay looked like a violin. place in the middle aisles of Aldi. So, I said at the beginning of the show that this was a show about trying, but more accurately, it's a show about trying and failing and then trying again. And the funny thing was, I didn't really realise that until I started to do the show at the Edinburgh Festival. And my first show, I couldn't have fucked it up anymore. I really couldn't. You thought that guitar shift in the middle was bad? No. But I couldn't have fucked it up anymore, and I thought I failed, and I wanted to run away. I wanted to get out of Edinburgh, get off my head, forget about the whole thing, and it made me realise that it was the same need for escape that my dad had, that we all have sometimes, that Richard had when I asked him to sing. Except he did sing, and it was beautiful, in a sort of crap, beautiful kind of way. But the point is that Richard gave it a try, which is what I'm going to continue to do each night of my tour. Despite dodgy clarinet playing and stuff breaking and microphones not working, I'm just going to keep trying and just make it better and better each time I do it. And I just want to try one last thing with you guys, and it's up to you whether or not it's going to work. And I'm just going to sit here, and if you can see something on stage that you can either play, or you used to play, or you've always wanted to play, and there's loads of easy stuff that you need absolutely no skill to play at all, like tambourines, claves, that kind of stuff. I want you to come up and I want you to be instrumental in what the last piece of music is going to be. And don't worry, Richard looks nervous, there are no words. I'm not going to ask you to do any singing. So yeah, I'm just going to sit here, and if you want to come up and join me, you'll be very welcome. Oh come on, it's Brighton, everyone's creative here. This is lovely. Well, we've got cello, tambourine, clave, strong choice. Okay, we're going to start with the tambourine. So I want you to go tigga 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 tigga. That's it. You can take the spike out. Do you want a bow? Do you want a bow? Yeah. Can you actually play? Oh, that's fine. So I was going to take the spike out and now see if you could actually play, but you just crack on. So okay, let's get some. Can you play the piano? Oh, when you play the guitar? I mean, it might fuck up on you, but hey, yeah, just knock yourself out. Let's put on a nice synth setting. Here we go, synth 1. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so digga 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 digga. Okay, the chords on the top. We've got C. Yes. So C. Switch on and off again. Don't press that. And you can't play chords. You want to play chords? Chords there. Okay, we're going to go again. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Why end on a high? So. Yes? We got it. Yes. Okay. Solo. Go.
Did you?